Hi everyone, welcome back to the Crafty Author. My name is Anissa. I am the Crafty Author. And today we are going to be working on Sophie's Pumpkin Patch Table Runner. So I want to share with you already the first block that I have gone ahead and done. Now keep in mind that I have only put the pieces down by using my iron with the heat and bond that's attached to the backs of these. So when you purchase this kit, and there will be a limited number of kits available, so at the end of the video I will let you know how many kits there will be available for purchase and where you can get those. But right now I'm just showing you how we're putting this together. I'm really happy with it. It's so cute. So this is what we have so far. This is our first block. Okay, and like I said, these little pieces that I cut here had heat and bond on them, so I've already gone and heat and bonded them down. Now the next thing, after we get all of these little squares put together, what we're going to do is we're going to get some stabilizer, and I'm going to use tearaway, and I am just going to zigzag around all of these little items to keep it so that it stays together. So stabilizer I find really helps when you're doing some applique. It's not necessary to have it, but it's a preference that I have, and so I am going to use that for this. The kits will also include 4 pieces of stabilizer that you will be able to use on the backs of your block. So I'm just going to flip the camera and I'm just going to show you how I'm doing this. So let's get started. All right, so the hardest part about doing this is just picking your layout. So if you're going to stick with the same layout that I have, I'm going to iron my block piece first, and you will want to do that too, just to get the wrinkles out and everything. You will have all of these items in your kit when you order, because I will have them in there. Okay, so you'll get some of the pumpkins. You're going to get all the colors, all the same things that I have here, you're going to get in your kit as well. So, like I showed you, this is our first one. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our second one. And I'm going to show you just how easy this really is. The thing that you want to make sure that you have is you want to make sure that you have probably about a ½ inch from this edge over to here. And the reason I say that is because when you're sewing, you're going to use a ½ inch to attach the blocks, but you don't want to sew into your design. Okay, so you just need to be mindful of that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay out this one, and I am just going to lay these out first. You want to do that. You don't want to just get crazy and start ironing down, because then if you don't like it and you don't like where your placements are, you won't be able to change them as easily. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to use one of these to put that in there. And I'm just kind of, I just kind of just let things fall where they may a little bit. Tuck that one in if you want. I think we'll tuck that one in. And now we're going to use a different colored pumpkin. I don't know if you noticed, but I used the polka dot leaves for this one. So we're going to alternate a little bit the colors. This pumpkin is offset going that way, so I'm going to offset this next one going the opposite direction. And you're going to want to have your first block in front of you so that you know what you're doing here. Pull this one out a little bit more. This is why you want to put this down first, so that you can kind of see what you're doing. Guess it really doesn't matter what position you put your pumpkin in. Kind of looks cute like that. I actually kind of like my pumpkin straight up and down, to be honest, for this one. So that's how we're going to leave it. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to pull off my pumpkin like so. And I'm going to start with this piece first. Might even mark it with just like a pin. I'll just leave that there so I know that this tip needs to go right up there. And then I'm going to pull off my backing because it has the heat and bond. It's going to peel off just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to stick this back down. And I'm going to line it up with where my pin top is so that I know that that's where I had it originally. Move it down just a little bit. And now I am going to take my iron and I'm just going to press that down. And now that's on there and it's not going anywhere. Okay. So I'm going to do that for this one as well. I'm going to pull off the heat and bond backing. You see that shiny stuff on the back of the fabric? That is the heat and bond, and that is what is going to help this stick down here. And again, we're just going to press this with the iron. We're just going to move all the way around. Peeling off the heat and bond till we have this where we want it. Press it. And now that I kind of know where everything is going, I'm not using that pin anymore to mark. But you most certainly could if you wanted to. Pull that out. Boy, my iron is noisy. Okay. I am going to lay this like that. And remember, it doesn't have to be laid perfectly. This is your table runner. I haven't decided which way I want to do this yet. Maybe I'll go that way. I will go that way. Okay. Now that I've got it all down, I'm going to go that way. All right, so here's the last one. This is going to be our pumpkin. The pumpkin also has the sticky, okay? And I am just going to lay that right there because I like it there. that's what we have here. So now we have 2 of our pieces done. Voila. So we're going to keep moving right along, and we're going to just do the same thing. But I just want you to be able to see how we do this. Now, if you wanted to, this is just an extra little trick. I'm not going to do it myself, but you could, if you wanted to center this, you could fold it and make a little notch with your fingernail there, and then you could fold it again, and then that will show you your center mark. Okay, so you could actually line your leaves up and everything to that. So we'll try it this way just so you can see how that's done. I myself kind of like to eyeball everything, so that's how I do it, but most certainly this is a good way to do things. So we could also change this up and go this way with our leaves now if we wanted to, which I'm kind of wondering if we should not do that. So we'll do that. Okay, there's my other piece right there. Remember, we're lining everything up towards that center piece. Now I'm going to take my pumpkin and lay it down. See, this is why I like, though, to be able to pull this out, but this is a good guide. It helps you to see where you're at, and I actually think that looks really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and just iron these down. It's really as easy as that. So if you like folding your fabric in half so you have that center point, then I would recommend doing that. The hardest part is peeling off all the paper. And that's not even hard. So this is a fun, relaxing little piece to do. It's a quick little afternoon project. Okay, come on. Got another pumpkin here. You can also, I always peel from the top, but you can peel from the bottom. It probably makes more sense to peel your heat and bond from the bottom. That way you're not stretching. Wow, that iron is so loud. Always has been. My pumpkin. Voila. And now we have that one done. So we have some really neat alternating patterns here. We're going to do the next one now. And then this one will be it. We will have our 4 blocks done. Let's fold this in half again. I think that this is probably a pretty good way to measure. You just fold it in half. Boom. There it is. Okay. So I'm just going to lay out my leaves. And I know that those are going to go more towards the center. And these are going to come up a little more because these are shorter. And another pumpkin. And this pumpkin, because I'm looking at how we have our pumpkins going here, this one's going to go like that. So we're going to lay it down like that. There we go. And now we're just going to put these down. Now, I will recommend doing your stitching to stitch these down. I recommend doing that with a, doing it first before you attach your blocks. I want to make sure I've got this going in the right direction. So these are all kind of different. Let's go that way. Let's go in. I'm confusing my own self here. Pumpkin on. And you have your layout of your runner here. So we've got all 4 of these done. So now what we would need to do is we need to take them over to our sewing machine and zigzag stitch around them. These are the blocks that we have. A little different. Each one is different, which is what I like. Different, but the same. Okay, so now we just have to zigzag stitch these down or blanket stitch it or whatever stitch you're going to use. So you'll want to prepare your sewing machine for that. With some stabilizer. I will show you which stabilizer I am working with. Like I said, the stabilizer will come in your kit, so you don't need to worry about that. And so I'll show you that in just a sec. All right, so the stabilizer that I'm working with is called New Bro Thread Stabilizer. It's tearaway. It looks like this, and this is how I would use it on my sewing machine, or on the with my block. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say with my block. It's like this. And all it does is it stabilizes this fabric so that it doesn't move while you're stitching. You can choose to pin this down. You can choose to use 505 spray. I'm not sure what I'll do. I'll probably 505 it just to hold it in place and to keep it flat. I did have somebody ask me a question about when using table runners, how to keep it from the fabric from puckering. So I highly suggest you either pin it really well, or you use a 505 type of spray. You want to make sure that everything is nice and flat. That will keep everything from rolling and puckering and whatnot. Sometimes fabric puckers. It happens to everybody. But these are some little tricks that we use so that that doesn't happen. Go ahead, and we are going to do a zigzag stitch just around our pattern here. You can use any stitch that you want. I'm just going to go ahead and needle up, needle down. I'm going to pull my thread up from the bottom. And I am using I'm using some stabilizer on the back of my thing. This just helps it to stay stabilized and sew better. Okay, so and you can just go a little bit slow around here. I'm gonna do my pumpkin here. You can use whatever stitch you would like on your table runner, but I am just going to do this really simple zigzag stitch because I think it looks pretty neat. Now, if you have an AccuQuilt, you can actually download their free embroidery patterns and it will stitch it for you. But I am going to show you how to do it just kind of manually here. It's easy to do. I actually kind of prefer doing this sometimes instead, because it's fun and relaxing. All right, so we're coming up to the stem of the pumpkin here. I'm just going to go around this slowly. And okay, back around at my pumpkin, and now I'm going to come back around, and then I'm just going to continue out now. So come back out to my outer edge here and go around my pumpkin again, just on this little edge here. And now I'm going to start going around my leaves. And there are lots of curves, and it takes a lot of practice to get your stitching just absolutely perfect. But I can tell you, once you wash this, it won't even matter because you won't be able to see it. So if you don't get it on there just perfectly, don't worry. As you can see, I've gone outside because I'm trying to go too fast. That's okay. Okay, so I'm going to go and finish the rest of this. I think you've got kind of the hang of it. You just want to go around with your stitching. And I use tearaway stabilizer, and you'll get this in your kit as well. But all I'm going to do is just gently tear this off, as you can see. Okay. You have to work with it a little bit. This stabilizer is a medium weight stabilizer, so it's a little bit more coarse than like a light stabilizer. And it doesn't really matter what stabilizer you use. If you have extra stabilizer and you don't want to use the one that's included, and then that's fine too. But I thought I would just include it in case you don't have it yourself. So you just tear it off, and you can see how that's coming off. And then when you go into, I take a seam ripper and I just gently kind of grab it and tear the stabilizer, like by the design here. And then I'm just gonna pull it off here. But the stabilizer definitely makes it easier to do the zigzag stitching or whatever stitching you're going to do. It's sticking to my fingers. When you're sewing around your designs, around your applique. So that's what it'll look like when you pull it off of there. So just keep working with it. It takes a couple minutes to pull it off. It doesn't take very long. You just want to be careful that you don't rip your stitches out. So be gentle around your stitches. And that's really about it. All right, so we are going to start attaching our blocks together. And so I'm just going to take the first two. I'm going to face them right sides facing each other, and I'm going to line them up. I mean, this is pretty easy stuff here, but so we line up our squares and we make sure we're nice and even, and we are. I'm using a lead here so that when I start sewing on my project, it's not going to bunch up or nest underneath. A lead is just a scrap piece of fabric that you just sew onto first before you sew onto your actual project that you're doing. I'm sewing 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut my lead off. I'm going to start again on my lead. And I'm just going to do that before I start attaching the other block. And then I'll start sewing on here again. And I want to make sure that I've got everything nice and lined up, nice and even. And I do. Just take your time. Okay, I'm going to snip that off again. And as you can see, I've got my perfect 1/4 inch going. And now I'm going to sew my last little block on here. So you should have a total of 4. This goes so fast and it's so fun and easy to make. This is like a fun afternoon project. Okay. And it'll be perfect for your table. All right. And we have all of our pieces sewn together. So now what we're going to do is take this over to our ironing board and we're going to press. Now you could finger press this yourself if you want to, which I will do. I'm just going to give it a finger press first. And I don't really think it matters at this point which direction you're pressing because we're not really lining up any seams here. So, but I'm going to push mine all to the right because they seem to want to go that direction. So that's what we'll do. So when I go to press it with the iron, that's what we'll have. And now we have our pieces sewn together. All right, so we are going to start sewing on our first inner border. The sound that you hear in the back is my husband cutting with the AccuQuilt, and he is doing that so that he can get quilt kits cut for everyone. So I'm going to take my first strip and I'm going to start on my short edge. Normally, I like to start on my long edge, but this time I'm going to start short. Just because I feel like doing it that way this time. You can go the other direction too. There's no right or really a wrong way to do this, but I feel like these are going to fit better if you start on this end first. Okay? So again, I'm going to take my lead. Just going to put that down. And I'm going to just start sewing directly onto my fabric here. 1/4 inch. Everything we're going to be working with is going to be 1/4 inch. Okay, we've got our first inner border on. This is a 2-inch border. Oh, I need to cut the lead off. It's helpful. This goes, like I said, very, very quickly. I'm going to finger press this out because we'll be putting the longer border on too. Okay, so I'm going to flip to the other side now, to this other end. We're going to put the other short one on, just like that. You don't have to use your lead for this, but I am. I'm just going to use it because I just don't want to deal with the nesty mess on the back this time. Or any kind of bunching that you can get when you're sewing here. Okay. Going to cut that lead. Going to finger press. Now I know I have a little bit of excess right here that I could cut off. I could fold this over and cut it off right now, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to move right on along to our larger piece. So now we're going to start attaching to the long side. And you can pin this if you would like to I am not going to pin. I like to just kind of hold this as I go and straighten it out as I go. So, but if you're not confident in that, then you're going to want to pin. And I will stop and line everything up as I go along. I'll stop where my fingers are, and I'll do it again. Yeah. Just make sure I'm lined up, and I am. Sew off. Cut my threads. Okay. I'm going to cut that lead off, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish the other side. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off right here now, this excess fabric that I have right there from when we put on the shorter end. So I'm just going to cut that off right there. I will do that down here as well. Just keeps the bulk down. I'm going to finger press this real quick. Then I will go ahead and sew on the other side, this long border. And then I will press it with the iron. And I will come back and show you what it looks like with the inner border that's on. All right, so this is what it looks like with the inner border on. This is the 2-inch border. And I think it looks fantastic. So I have gone ahead and I've pressed it. And it looks beautiful. And so we are getting ready now to put on the larger border around here. And I'll be back with that. So we are ready to put on our border, our last border, onto our table runner. And this is what our last border looks like. And I am going to just put this right sides facing down. And we are doing the long side first this time. When we did the other border, the inner border, we started with the, we started on the sides. But now we're going to go on the longer side first. And it is important that you do it this way because both of the pieces are cut to go on that way. So if you try to do the other border like that, you won't, the inner border, you won't be able to do it because you won't have a long enough piece. So that is why we're doing it this way, in case you're wondering. We are just about out of bobbin thread here. All right, so what I'm going to do here, since I have a little bit of excess here, is I'm going to fold this up like so. I'm going to crease it and make it even. with this edge here of our other border. And then I'm just going to slide my scissors in right here, and I'm just going to give it a cut. And now that edge is perfect. It's perfectly even. I'm also going to finger press this, and I'm going to finger press it towards the darker fabric here that we have. Now we'll press this with the iron once I have once I have the other side on here too. All right, so I have finished our Sophie's Pumpkin Patch table runner. It turned out so great. It turned out better than I thought it possibly could. I'm so happy with it. So I'm just going to show it to you. Isn't that adorable? It turned out so beautiful. I love this, and I cannot wait to put this on my table. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. You can see up close. You can see how I quilted it. This is the back. I know everybody likes to look at the back side of things as well. You can see I quilted it, and I used a wavy stitch, that wavy stitch that I love to use on the decorative stitching on my machine to go around the borders, and it turned out so stinking cute. Love it. All right, so on mine, I actually ran out of binding because I was cutting the binding for the quilt kits. So I had to use the same the same fabric as I did in this border here, because I had some of that left over. So that's what I used in mine. But I'm going to show you the quilt kits that I have now. And so I'm just going to set this aside. Oh, I love it. I can't wait to put it on my table. I just love it. Anyway, I have made the quilt kits. This is what they look like. And so what you get in each quilt kit, so I want to let you know, you get everything to make this. The only thing that is not in here is the thread and the batting. That's it. So in each quilt kit, what you will get is you will get all of the pieces with the heat and bond attached to the back. So all you have to do is iron them on. You get the inner border strips. You get the outer border strips. You get the backing fabric, the main fabric for the squares. So you get all that. Let me show you so that you know what you're getting. So you get all of this. You get this backing piece of fabric right here. You get this border. You get this border. You're going to get the binding, and you also get the backing fabric. So that is what we're going to do. So here's the binding. So this is what I wanted to show you. So since I had to use a different color of binding for mine, okay? But a lot of them have this really cool orange, which is actually one of the colors in the pumpkins. I ran out of that while I was doing this, and so I just kind of improvised. So these little kits have a different color. Most of them have the orange. Put them back in here real quick. Another one of these. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, you also get the stabilizer. You get stabilizer in there as well. That package doesn't have it. That's why I didn't see it. My husband must have pulled it out and forgot about it. Anyway, so this one has a different binding. This one has the leaves on it, which is, again, one of the pumpkin patterns, okay? And then there is another one that has it just like mine, where we have the leaves going around. Okay, I think I only have one of these. So, I have very, very limited quantities of these. There's only 10. That's all I had enough for was 10. But you have everything that you need to make this kit, all right? They are $59.99 for the kit plus shipping. All right. So I will place a link below to where you can go to grab your quilt kit. And also this video will serve as a tutorial for you and as instructions on how to put the top together. It's your table runner, so you can put it together any way that you want to. There's no right or wrong way. If you don't like the way I made my the way I put my pumpkins and leaves, then you can change it to make it what you want it to look like. Okay, I just did mine this way because I thought it looked really cute. And if you like it this way, then you'll see in the video how to do this, how to lay it out. All right, so $59.99 for the quilt kit. And like I said, very, very limited quantities. And once they're gone because I can't get this fabric anymore. They're not carrying it. I got all this fabric at Joann's. And I cut it all up, and so I don't even remember the names of it, to be honest. Some of it does have, I did leave some of the selvage edges on some of the fabric, so you can maybe try and make sense out of that. I don't know. I was just trying to get these cut and ready to go so that you guys could have them, because we're getting closer and closer to Thanksgiving, and I wanted you to have something beautiful for your table. So I hope that you love this as much as I do, because I think it turned out so adorable. And yeah, so links are going to be down below in the description box. We're going to do this through my Etsy store. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you guys watching and loving the Sophie's pumpkin patch, and I really, really just appreciate all of your support and your interest in this. So this is kind of a test run on the table runners. If you guys like the idea of kits and things like that, I can start maybe doing more of this, but let's see how it goes to begin with. And if you don't know the story behind Sophie's pumpkin patch, I'll give it to you real quick. I had a black lab. Her name was Sophie, and she got sick with cancer, and probably about 2 months ago. And I had to put her to sleep. And on the very day that I had to put her to sleep, we were down here in the craft room cutting the pumpkins and stuff for this table runners. So that's how we came up with Sophie's pumpkin patch, and that's probably why it's so adorable, because it's made with so much love. So that's the story. Anyway, if you would like to follow me on social media, the links are down below in the description box. Don't forget to give this video a like, and don't forget to click the little bell. You'll get notified each and every time that I upload a new video by being a subscriber. And also, I wanted to mention that if you don't get to get one of these quilt kits, it's okay. You can always go onto like Google, and you can download a pumpkin pattern or a leaf pattern for your own personal use. Cut it out, trace it, and you can do your own that way. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that out there, and keep on crafting. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.